My name is Andrew Szymanski. I'm the producer on Lost Planet 3. I'm based out of Capcom's Tokyo office, and I've been supervising the development of Lost Planet 3, which is being developed by Spark Unlimited in Los Angeles. We chose to make Lost Planet 3 a prequel because we really wanted to tell a lot of the stories from sort of the past colonization of the planet and show sort of the frontier nature in the struggle of the colonists as they tried to eke out an existence. And so we've placed our main character Jim sort of in that environment in order to show the struggles and sort of the loneliness that comes with being away from home and having to work in those conditions. Well, in Lost Planet 3, we really wanted to get back to our roots, both literally and figuratively, by going back in time and going back to the frozen state of the planet, but also by making it a very narrative-driven experience and a very character-driven experience. And so the single-player campaign is very much a single-player experience. However, we will be having a multiplayer suite separate from that, and so it's very much like Lost Planet 1 in that you have a strong narrative-driven experience for the single-player portion of the game, and then you have a separate suite of multiplayer modes that are also very important to it. Certainly, Lost Planet 3 basically follows Jim from the moment that he arrives on EDN3 up to the ultimate conclusion of the story, and he is there on the planet in order to do contracts to provide for his wife and son that he's left back on Earth. Earth is in the middle of an energy crisis, and they've sent an expedition to EDN3 in order to harvest and exploit the thermal energy that they found on the planet. And so Jim kind of arrives. He arrives a few months after the expedition has begun, and he starts taking contracts to lay pipeline and build prefab buildings and basically help the colonists to survive. And eventually he finds out that there's a wider world, so to speak, and there are things that he doesn't know about, and there's things that he hasn't been told about. He eventually gets wrapped up in a larger storyline. The first two Lost Planet games were developed by our Osaka internal studio. This time we're actually working with a Western development partner in Spark Unlimited out of Los Angeles. But we still have all of the core staff from Osaka worked on the first two games, and so basically when we very first came up with the concept for the game, we decided to work with Spark. We brought all the guys from Osaka over to Los Angeles, sat in a room for weeks at a time, working on the characters, the narrative, the game design, the creature design, the idea of the rig and everything like that. So even though superficially it's very much sort of a Western presentation, it still retains a lot of those core elements that the team has built up from previous installments of the franchise. Well, I think that a lot of what Spark Unlimited has brought to the table is sort of their way of treating the narrative in a very cinematic way, with the characters, with the dialogue, the voice acting. We're using sort of a performance capture system in which the actual actors are scanned into the game. So we have the actors providing the voices and providing the performance are actually the faces of the actors in the game, and that's sort of on the narrative side. But of course, they've also helped contribute with the new art design. The game looks much more alien than any other games in the series. You couldn't mistake, even though it is a frozen landscape, you couldn't mistake it for Antarctica or anywhere else on Earth. It's very alien feeling, and I think that they've done a great job on that. So we've really tried to work together with them to sort of create something that's better than the sum of its parts, so to speak, something that the Japanese team wouldn't be able to do on their own, and neither would Spark. Well, the game is designed to require no previous knowledge to play it. You don't have to be familiar with or have played the previous Lost Planet games in order to understand and grasp everything. That being said, we have included a lot of really cool hints and connections. One of that we've showed in the trailers is Gale, who's the young mechanic that works on Jim's rig. And Gale is actually the father of Wayne, who's the protagonist of LP1. And so you'll notice a lot of connections if you've played the previous games, and we're hoping that the fans will enjoy that. The game is coming out in early 2013 for PS3, Xbox 360, and PC.